Hello there. It's been a while since I've done a review, or any video. My last review was Marvel Legends Gwenpool, and today we're going to take a look at Revoltech Nick Wilde. I really should try to make a schedule for my reviews. And before we get on to the figure, I'd like to thank Matsumoto Ichiro for designing this figure. You did a really great job, so thank you. Here is Nick Wilde out of the box, and look how smug he is. Now, other than this handsome fox, you get a couple of accessories that is included with him. Now, like Judy, Nick also comes with a backdrop which is more relaxed toned than the bright orange that Judy came with. And it looks really good so far. Now, he does come with a pair of instructions that shows you what he comes with and what all the items do. So it's just basic instructions, nothing more. Now, other than Nick's smirking face, he also comes with 3 other faces, including his smiling face, his scared face, and his worried face. Nick Wilde has a lot of expressive emotions with these faces, which is really cool and incredible, which really does the job well done. My only issue is that these faces are not 100% screen accurate, which I'm okay with because these do look pretty close to Nick. And the other issue is that for some reason Nick comes with 4 faces, but for some reason Judy comes with 5. I really wish they had included an angry face for Nick, because I would have been totally okay with that, but I'm a little disappointed. And to swap Nick's faces, it's just like Judy's. All you have to do is pop the head off and swap it with a new one. And he also has the movable eye feature, which I really liked from Judy, and I'm glad they continued it with Nick. Although mine are a little loose for some reason compared to Judy's, but it's not a big problem. Now, Nick comes with some nice sunglasses, which was featured in the movie. The way you attach them is pretty neat. You don't actually just rest it on his ears or anything, but there's actually a little hole that you just push a little peg on the end of the sunglasses to keep it nice and sturdy. You could say Nick looks so good with the new sunglasses that he's quite the sly fox. Now, Nick comes with 3 hand options. One pair of open hands, the other are more curled fist hands with a pointing finger, and the third option is just one hand piece that allows Nick to hold the carrot pin, which is really nice and really neat. And to swap out the hands, it's that simple. You just pop it off and pop a new one on. But I would be very, very careful because when I first did this happened. But the joint is all good. I just popped it back on and it works. I had to tighten it up because it was a little loose, but that was a bit of a disappointment that it happened to me. One of the other items he comes with is his own little stand. Now, the stand is really easy to put together. All you have to do is peg the stand to the actual armature, and you've got another armature you can peg into. The articulation is pretty simple, but you get a good range. You got like about 3 to 4 points of articulation, counting each 3 points in the arm, and you kind of got some joints in the actual arm, which gives you a lot of good, decent poses out of it. You can have him do jumping poses or running poses or whatnot, which is really cool. And the stand is kind of a necessity because without it, he can't really stand without his tail. And you can take the tail off, but he has a hard time standing, so the stand is pretty essential to this figure. Now, for the articulation of Nick Wilde, he has a ball joint in the head and neck, which is ratcheted, ball jointed ears, as well as the moving eye feature. He's also got ball jointed shoulders, which can act as butterfly joints, ratcheting elbow, and a swivel. He's got a wrist joint that can move up and down and swivel as well as do side to side if you move the joint right. He has a good ab crunch. He's got ball jointed hips. He's got a ratcheting forward and backward knee and got a decent ankle rocker. The one thing I'll mention is the ab crunch feels way too loose. Like, it's kind of floppy loose. It's not horrible, but yeah, it's very, very noticeable. And let's see how Nick Wilde stands to some other figures. Here he is with Revoltech Judy Hopps, Marvel Legends Deadpool, Figma Young Link, Masterpiece Bumblebee, and Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime. Alright, it is pros and cons time. The pros are, he does definitely look like Nick Wilde. Not 100% accurate, but accurate enough to say that he does look like Nick Wilde from the movie. His articulation is really good for what it is. Not as good as Judy's, but it is very good for what it is. It's better than a standard Marvel Legends figure, so the articulation is pretty much, hands down, alright. He comes with a decent amount of accessories, but not as much as Judy. But there's not much accessories in Judy's either, but just an okay amount of accessories. The bonus pro, just like Judy, he has movable eyes, which is a feature I never thought I would want in an action figure, but I'd love to see in more action figures as the years go by, because he expresses so much more emotions with movable eyes. It's just so crazy. That's why it deserves the bonus pro. My main nitpick is the whole joint popping off thing. It could be just mine, but if any of you have that issue too, it could be a con. But for right now, it's just a nitpick because I may be the only one that had it, and it's kind of annoying that it happened to me. He can't really stand without his stand, which is a bummer because Judy can stand without her stand. I hope you can understand. This is getting a little weird, but he has a hard time balancing without a stand. Even the tail, that's the only real thing that's keeping him up, is his tail as a third leg. My main con is his hip ratchet feels a little weak / loose. It holds fine, but it doesn't take much for the joint to do it, to, work. It doesn't you just barely touch it, it moves, but it doesn't take a lot to move it, and I wish it was a little bit tighter, just my personal opinion, in terms of this con, and, I think that's pretty much it. And with that, I have to say Nick Wilde is a great figure. Sure, he's not perfect, but the look of him is just good. He does have a good amount of expressible emotions to get him some good poses and good scenes. The articulation is pretty good. There are a few faults, not much, but it's just the only fault is that joint popping off and the loose ab crunch. Other than that, he's a pretty good figure, and I would say he's worth your time, and he's worth $70 on Big Bad Toy Store and other websites. But if you can find one for that or a better deal, I would recommend getting him. Now, I haven't been doing reviews lately. In fact, this review took way longer than it should, but I will be back to doing reviews as soon as possible. Now, if you don't see a review next week from me, you can yell at me all you want. And before I go, I will just leave you with this video here.
Try to imagine something that doesn't exist, something you've never seen. Now concentrate on how it makes you feel, and let your hand drift across the canvas. God.
You guys have waited long enough for this review.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.